Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show on the 3rd of June. Season 2 of COVID, year 2 of it all. It's the Olympics 2020 in 2021. It is the Euros 2020 in 2021. This is the new normal. Now, that's a term nobody's heard before. I've actually just made that up. Um, you probably you probably love it because you haven't heard it from anyone. It's the new normal. Shout out to the MKT show. Shout out to you at home, living your best life, at work, living your best life, actually contributing to the taxpayer base globally. Shout out to you guys still grinding and making it happen out there and providing for your families. It is an awesome thing. Shout out to James Illingsley's beard. I thought I'd start off on that. A man who has decided, taken it upon his own shoulders, that his mother's happiness means absolutely nothing to him. He'd rather be happy. The rest of the world can go to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, big time producer, superb looking hair today. James Jimbo Illingsley. Jimbo, what's happening, Paul?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great.
Good. We had a bit of a rocky start with the whole load shedding thing, but here we are.
We pivot,
How do you adapt? You know what I'm saying?
Once you've had COVID, nothing's difficult.
Ah,
But you wouldn't understand because
oh.
you obviously haven't had COVID like me.
For those listening, MKT actually does have COVID.
Oh my
Um,
word, James, I didn't want to go on about it, but now that you mentioned it, it is something that I do have, yes.
I hope our sound quality is great. I think we've done a lot of what's the word? Troubleshooting.
Problem is, I figured out the problem,
Right.
but because of COVID, and I can't actually move around to go and get the solution to it, this is not an excuse, but this is the trappings of having COVID, is I have the solutions, but I can't access them, and I can't just go to the shops, you know what I mean?
This is
And
where we are now, huh?
and going online is an option, but the delivery times will be for some of the things I need to solve this issue are going to be more than my lockdown because I want to have a foolproof solution. I don't want to just get a short-term solution. You know what I'm saying?
So it's about picking your battles, huh?
Yeah, you got to get a foolproof solution. So, for those of you who are faithfully with us, listening to the show, apologies for the sound quality from my side. I do know what the problem is, but I'm afraid this is as good as it's going to get. I'm going to try and scream into the mic and to give you the best sound possible. I'm hoping over the weekend I can somehow figure out a tech solution on my end. But anyway, that is what it is. Jimbo, good to have you with me. You look fantastic in that mauve sweater of yours. Oh, do you wear, what do you call the high collar things again?
Turtlenecks.
Turtlenecks.
I don't.
Why
Um,
not?
uh, Not my style. I have a specific style.
All right. Take us into your specific style, says James Ellingsley. I've got a specific style. I love this. Take me into it. I want to hear it all.
If it's not sweatpants, which it often is, it's those pants that like close at the bottom, like the cotton on ones, where it's got the elastic thingy.
Uh-huh.
And then hoodies are the best in the whole world, or jerseys like this. I don't need like a lot of stuff going on here. You know what I mean?
So you're all about that life, hey James?
That's sure. Yeah, Cotton On is my second home.
Now, I know that ladies want to be proud of the sort of people they date.
Right.
Um, I'll try and hold this mic a little closer. Let's see if it helps at all. Does your lady ever try and get you to actually dress like a grown up?
No, no. We both have our own uh, fashion sense and our own styles,
Okay.
and we just kind of stick to that kind of thing.
So she hasn't yet come to you and said, "Hey, like, stop wearing sweatpants to a family lunch."
The one time we were going out to dinner at family friends, and I was like, I'm gonna wear sweatpants because I'm not in the mood to get dressed up. And then she was like, oh, but I brought clothes that like I'm gonna actually kind of dress up in. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well that's awkward now because I really don't want to dress up. Like, it's a Friday. Like, I want to go home and wear my sweatpants. I don't want to have to put many things on and shower and do the whole thing. So eventually I decided
James, you should shower all the time.
just all 24 hours of every day.
Twice a day. I mean, the fact that you're mentioning having to shower when you're gonna go out with the love of your life, and you're representing her as somebody she's chosen as a life partner, and you think showering is something you have to list. It's almost like saying, you know what? My mom went and bought food. I ate it. Like, no. You shouldn't list the fact that you ate the food. That isn't a thing. You haven't done anything.
I just sometimes I don't know why I open my mouth.
So what? Okay, sorry. So your lady is now asking you to dress like an adult. How did that whole thing go? Did you guys have a fallout?
No, I decided I just gotta do the business and actually dress up, and so I did.
Did you take a shower?
I'm very precious about my showers. So you telling me that I have to shower twice a day is not news to me.
Oh, but you said just now, like you listed it as though you know, like you rescued your girlfriend from a dragon.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think COVID's made you dramatic.
Oh my goodness, this guy. All right, listen, James. It's tough because I'm not in a relationship, so I'm not giving you advice. I just know ladies like adults, and adults shower and clean themselves, and I'm also a sweatpants guy. Probably why I'm single. All right, so you're gonna keep up that whole I'm just gonna dress however I want thing.
Yeah, we're our own individuals. We're not like, oh no, you have to wear this, and like she has clothes, or no, I have clothes that I know she likes, and she has clothes that she knows I like. But
Has
it's
your
not
lady ever
like
bought you clothes?
no.
She hasn't bought you clothes yet. Like, because here's how it works, right? Girls and boys do this. We all want to change our partners, and I know everybody says, number one, right? Can we all get over ourselves? And I'm a hypocrite here because I'm terrible at changing. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, but this idea that we must be loved how we are, right? Instead of changing is nonsense. You must change and compromise and adjust to the world. But now, James, I think your lady will probably hint by just going, "Oh my word, I saw this shirt. I know you might not like it, but I bought it anyway." I don't know if you know that classic trick.
I do know that, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened either. I could be
Yet.
wrong though.
Okay.
I She knows that I thrive on like being my own person and
Oh my
doing my
goodness.
thing. So
Oh my goodness.
she
Listen
can't.
to this guy.
She's not going to be able to tame this wild stallion.
Oh my Lord. Lord have mercy. I mean, I've got COVID and then I've got to listen to this guy.
That
You
was
know,
that was so
two
cringy.
pandemics.
That was incredibly painful. I'm so sorry.
Two pandemics. Now, I know what you're thinking. Henry has said that COVID whisper, MKT, I presume that means my sound is probably the worst thing you've ever heard, Henry. I'm doing what I can here. I'm going to try and belt it out, sort of get my Gloria Estefan voice out, really hit those decibels, and basically just get the mic inside of my throat. Um, and I am working on it. I know, as people at home, you don't care. We shouldn't be showing you behind the curtain. I have tried to troubleshoot it, but I've got COVID. So
We were on a video call until like 6 o'clock last night trying to troubleshoot issues.
yeah, it's not an excuse though. We should have fixed it. I should have fixed it. I am working on it.
We need to try harder is what we need to do.
No, absolutely. In fact, I don't want to hear it, really, James. We need to fix it, and people like Henry shouldn't have to put up with the rubbish sound. Henry, I don't say these words often. I'm a self-centered bachelor, I'm sorry. But I actually mean it. I haven't said that word and meant it in a long time. I am sorry, and I will work on it.
Henry, it's like Christmas. Like he says, he doesn't say that often. He's very correct. I don't think I've heard him say I'm sorry often. So take it. It's honestly like a Christmas present.
Also, it's not like Christmas because I actually mean this one. Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, terrible holidays. Those are useless. This is actually something that matters. And Henry's the person that matters. Christmas is so dumb.
Well, sure, yeah.
So this is not dumb. Henry's not dumb. You know, let's get into this. And I've just seen Henry post a question, which I wanted to start with, James. Huge day for me last night.
Wait, what? Whoa, go back. That makes no sense.
Well, last night was part of a day, but yesterday was a big day.
Okay.
And this event happened last night.
Okay.
Big news.
What happened? Tell me.
I watched my first Netflix series.
I so desperately wish we had the roadcaster so that I could do the clapping hands and cheer for you. And I know this mic over here is very sensitive, so I can't even clap, but I'm proud of you.
Now, let me tell you what it was. It's a classic golden oldie.
Right.
And I realized yesterday what kind of human being I am. Because...
An horrendous one.
Yes. I mean, we all know. Not a good person, you know, probably die alone, you know, rigid, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I accept that. James, that's not an insult coming from you. You know, you're a great guy. I always give you compliments. Folks, if you weren't listening about 2 weeks ago, James, you remember when you said, I've got habits. In fact, I believe you said, I revolt women in the end.
I'm pretty sure I said you repulse women.
Repulse.
Was it repulse?
I've got revolting habits that yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Women,
yeah.
But I'm revolting in the end to women is what you said, which is fine. But I realized last night,
okay,
I like what I like, and man, it's tough for me to change as I get old. Because last night, David Attenborough, an all-timer from a year ago, Frozen Planets, if you haven't seen it, get out of here. If you've got and you know what you need? Because I'm still saving for my TV, James.
Right.
I cannot wait to get my TV and actually, I'm going to rewatch that Frozen Planets episode, right? I'm going to rewatch it on my big screen with great earphones.
Sounds truly exhilarating.
Have you seen it?
I'm not heavily into
nature.
I like going to like the Kruger Park and safaris and stuff, but I couldn't care less about like nature documentaries and David Attenborough.
That's unbelievable.
Like I used to go to the Kruger Park a couple of times a year to visit my grandparents, and like my brother and I, we'd have a great time, and being in the park was fun and looking for animals and stuff. But when it comes to watching it on TV and watching like Nat Geo, I think it is about as boring as watching golf.
It's unbelievable. You're so self-centered, James. This is exactly why the polar caps are melting.
Oh, it's my fault.
Like you, that just want to buy sweatpants and watch YouTube at home on their 8th laptop, basically killing all the dolphins. But all right, James. I mean, if you're not a good person like me, and you're gonna watch Attenborough. Anyway, my point is, Attenborough undefeated. His voice is undefeated. He is incredible. Frozen Planets, highly recommend it. There's a whole series. I think it's Our Planet is the series.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
And if you haven't seen Planet Earth, there's Planet Earth 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one I've heard of. Yeah.
But this one is Our Planets. I think Netflix released it a year ago, and there's a whole series of them. Tonight, I will be jumping on episode 2, a different one. But unbelievable. James, the polar bears, right now, they're winning because of people like you, because of global warming. What's happened is the ice is too thin right now for seals to actually dive and hide underneath for long enough because it's melting earlier. So what's happening is it's good for the polar bears for now. The problem is that the seal numbers are reducing. So eventually the polar bears aren't going to have food. Hey, Maybe they eat people like you, James. Who knows? So maybe the polar bears are going to get a little closer to the cities. People like James that don't care, just throwing their laptops into the streets and killing dolphins. Maybe the polar bears eat you instead of the seals. Who knows?
Look, if I die by seal or polar bear, I don't deserve a funeral. Like, if my mom's listening right now, don't plan a funeral. If I've died by seal, that's just sad.
Yeah, seals not bad. Hey, listen, they are pretty big. Polar bear would be the way to go, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because that's at least a story. Like, people know polar bears can be kind of vicious. It's a
No, I mean,
bear.
they are literally the biggest land mammal.
Exactly. It's a bear. It's not gonna like want to drink a beer with you. It's gonna rip your face off. That's a story. If I got killed by a seal, like I say, just don't even plan a funeral. That's just disappointing. That's what
Hey,
it is.
James, if you weren't just watching the Kardashians your whole life, you'd actually watch our planet and realize actually the guys you want to stay away from, they're called orcas, killer whales. They hunt in pods. They ending lives up there. So if you want to watch that, they are just do not get in the way. You see orcas, turn the other way. Probably not going to outrun them. Incredibly fast in the water, and they stealth hunters as well. Just unstoppable. Apex predators. I mean, they're eating sharks. They
Ap-
are eating sharks for fun.
First of all, apex predators. Secondly, orcas. Free Willy's an orca, right?
No, see, again, I hate that people learn about nature through Disney. It makes me sick. I think this is why I didn't like it because I've always loved nature. Is
Free
no,
Willy
no,
is
no,
an
no.
institution, though.
Free Willy is not actually how whales are. Like, stop putting animals in zoos and stop putting sea creatures unless it's for research in aquariums. There's certain aquariums, one in Cape Town, which is brilliant because they're doing a lot of research there and they rehabilitate things like turtles. Obviously, James, you don't care because you'll throw your laptop in the sea. And
Absolutely.
obviously, the turtles are choking on
Yeah.
it. And I know when you go shopping, unlike me, James, you don't have reusable bags.
No. Mm-mm.
So
I
you're killing all the turtles.
the more plastic, the
Yeah.
better. I
Uh,
actually take about 10 when I only need just one.
Anyway, it's sickening to be people around you. Like, it's just anyway. Frozen Planet's unbelievable. You gotta watch. James, don't be like James. Learn about the planet around you. And I mean, this isn't a lecture. It's just a recommendation. If you don't watch it, you know,
So
live your best life.
is it a documentary or like a docu-series?
Well, Our Planet is a docu-series. It's like, so this one is Frozen Planet. So it's the two poles and the seas. And
Right.
then there's others like jungle. I forgot the others on the list, but different sort of ecosystem. So looking forward to watching the rest of them. I mean, I've seen everything that Attenborough's done before, so this is just next level.
I actually watched a YouTube video. I'm just proving your point further, aren't I? I watched a YouTube video yesterday where this Australian guy went to an abandoned aquarium,
Okay.
and they were going through this aquarium and looking at all the stuff with all the dust on it. And they went to this arcade, and at one point he walks into like this really big room, and it's the creepiest thing. There's a like a huge glass box with water in it, and there's a dead great white shark just like sitting in the water in pitch black darkness. It is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, but I mean, people like you, James, who are not going to watch Frozen Planet, it doesn't matter to you, right? You're just doing whatever you want. Good people like me would probably try and stop that. I'm not saying I'm better than you, James. I'm just telling you, we are the things we do, not the things we say. So I'm watching Attenborough. You're watching the Kardashians. That's the difference between us.
Well, look, I'm very very against animal cruelty,
Sure.
but again, a shark is not exactly gonna wanna hang out with me.
Oh, so you don't mind?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Because sharks, I see what you're saying. So you don't mind if we just keep hunting those sharks for their fins?
That is not what I'm saying at all. That reminds me, you need to watch a documentary called The Cove.
Okay, to tell me about it.
So it's about these guys that go to, I think it's Japan, and they lure these dolphins into this cove, and it's basically like a killing site where they just start like hacking at the dolphins and stuff, and they like get arrested. They have to like sneak in at night and through bushes, and like it's this whole thing. And then they go to like one of the UN meetings, and this guy walks in and he's like, he makes this whole scene about how these Japanese people are like killing all of these dolphins in a cove, and it's inhumane, and it's, you should watch The Cove. You'll enjoy it actually.
Listen, so if you a good person like me, again, I hate to go on about it. Number one, I've got COVID, so it does make me better than everyone. But if you've watched Frozen Planet like I've done yesterday, and you know how people get like this, as soon as they've done something, they're better than everyone. It's like if somebody stops drinking, or like they stop a wildlife and they join church. You ever seen how preachy they get, James?
I have.
Yeah. So I'm that person now. I've watched one documentary, and now I'm basically, David Attenborough.
You are.
But anyway, so on Frozen Planets, he talks about the whaling and the dolphin hunting. Obviously, they've actually stopped that, and the numbers for humpback whales and dolphins have recovered incredibly. So, not stopped it, because you can never stop the dark side of the world. But hey, we're working on it. People like me and Attenborough. Yes, I've just compared myself to, one of the 5 greatest natural scientists, along with Jane Fonda of our time. We're working on it, James. I'm watching the documentaries. He's actually doing stuff about it and has done for 50 years. So we're kind of the same, you know what I'm saying?
Did he say anything about how COVID has slowed any of the effects of global warming or anything?
No, he didn't speak about that. He's busy trying to save the dolphin numbers in Antarctica. I think he's got bigger problems than COVID. There's people who must deal with COVID. Attenborough's trying to save the planet.
Well, I was asking because, like, you know how good it was for the environment when the entire world was in a lockdown and everything started kind of, regenerating is not the word I want to use. I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, but Attenborough's been at it for 50 years, so he doesn't need to. You know how people in lockdown all of a sudden became the best people in the world?
Yes, yeah.
Attenborough's been doing that his whole life, so I don't need anybody giving people like Attenborough a hard time, right? And some people are. It's like, no. He's been trying to save the planet for 50 years through his work. He's been consistent. You shut the hell up, you in the suburbs, telling me Attenborough, we got bigger problems, COVID. No. He's trying to save the planet. You shut the hell up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
He was a good person before this. Me and the yuppies at home who think they're better than everybody. No. You don't get to be a good person now just because it's COVID. No. You have to be consistent for 50 years, like Attenborough.
I think you've actually become more preachy since you've gotten COVID.
COVID changed everything, James. James, good to have you with us. Frozen Planet. Good to have you with us. Listen, we are actually a sports show, but I just thought I'd deliver that personal news.
Look, each to their own. I'm not exactly gonna say, oh, I gotta go watch that Netflix documentary after the show, but great, good stuff. Good.
You don't like educational stuff. All right, no worries.
It's fun, stupid.
Oh, wow. I didn't say that, James. I mean, I'm not going to shame you in public.
Well, look, you didn't not say it, so.
All right, Jimbo. Good to have you on board. Just before we get into the sport, Trent Alexander-Arnold played football last night.
He did. He did
not finish the football match.
No, he did not. Well, he almost did. It was in the dying minutes of the game that he limped off.
Any news, any updates there? He got injured.
He did. I think they said he's going for a scan today on his thigh, and we'll find out within the next 48 hours or so. But, I mean, the Euro is just 8 days away, so I think it's going to be touch and go. Henderson also didn't play last night, injury, and Maguire also injured. So this squad that Gareth Southgate has picked is falling apart before it's even started.
Well, Maguire's been injured. Remember, he didn't play in the Europa League final.
Yeah.
He's another one. I forget that he was injured.
Yeah, it was the current injured players, I think, are Henderson, Maguire, and Trent.
So I'm seeing a lot of Liverpool fans saying, no, we don't care that he's injured on the socials. They're saying, that's great. Just like Greenwood, get the mystery injury, pull out, because we need you fit for Liverpool next season. Your thoughts there, Jimbo?
I mean, I've always been an advocate for Trent. So if he pulls out and gets fit for next season, great news. If he recovers and plays Euros, great news. Yeah, don't know what else to really add.
So you're not sad about it, huh?
Well, it's not nice to see a Liverpool player limping off, but I think there is that thing in the back of my mind where it is the sort of off season now, so there's no rush to get back into any starting lineups. He's got until like mid-August to recover.
All right. Okay, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, you never want to see guys get injured. He's a young man living his dream. Whether you think he should be in the team or not, that is a cruel way for him to end the season. He's 20 years old, and it's just so unfortunate. You know, whether you think he's good enough to be in the team, he was in the team now, and he's representing himself and his family, and you hate to see it, man.
I think especially for a player like that who, you know, if you watch him, you see he does have almost some of the characteristics of being one of the pros, and he's got a couple of characteristics that remind me of a lot of pros, like real football players who don't dive and real football players who aren't solely in it for the money. So it's definitely sad to see, but yeah, you're not really going to avoid many injuries in football. So
that's business, baby.
Also, you know what else is business?
Let's hear it.
Liverpool Football Club turned 129 years old today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what that tells me is that for a quarter of their existence, they didn't win the league.
Cool. So what's on the running order for today's show?
Listen, interesting revelation yesterday. Carlo Ancelotti off to Real Madrid. So we'll start off with United and Everton. I want to tell you some comparisons between the two clubs and what I think we can all learn in our own lives and in business, really, the similarities between those two clubs. And then I'll give you my report back, end of season report on Liverpool. So we'll finish off on that. While I'm going here, Jimbo, not sure if we got a poll. If not, we'll set one up while I talk Man United Everton.
Sounds good. No poll just yet. I had load shedding, so I didn't have much of a chance to do much.
James, I've got COVID. Nobody wants to hear it.
Okay. I don't know what else to say.
James, great to have you with us. Any feedback on whether you're not going to inconvenience your friend? In terms of so let's just give a backstory. Maybe some people didn't listen yesterday. Is James was making his best friend deliver food to his house when he actually has the option of ordering online. Any feedback there, James? Are you gonna actually just be a grown-up and get delivery to your own house?
No.
Or are you still gonna inconvenience your mate?
Well, we had already made plans for him to bring stuff this afternoon. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's where we were.
You know what that sounds like? Is I've already inconvenienced you. I might as well go ahead and finish it off.
Well, I mean, we also have next week full of shows, so maybe I'll be spontaneous and order at home. Just hopefully the delivery man doesn't come during the show.
No, you can actually tell them what time to come. It's part of the service. But it's unbelievable. Again, James, you don't care about animals dying. You've already said because you don't watch Attenborough's shows. And you don't care if your mate actually has to skip his mom's birthday to deliver your avocados to your house. But anyway, James, I don't want to go on about it. We've actually got a sports show to get to. Great to have you with me here, Jimbo.
Great to be here. Before you jump into Ancelotti, and maybe it's something you can throw into your little preach that you do. Everton fans are not pleased at all with what's just happened. So yeah, I think there's a large group of supporters that are currently in the middle, and then an even bigger group of supporters that are very, very upset with Ancelotti and his decision. So I don't know, maybe that's something you want to go through.
All right, listen, go cry your tears somewhere else. You know what I mean? What do you want the guy not go to Real Madrid?
Cowboys don't cry, apparently.
The toxic masculinity there, James, but you've already shown those tendencies. It's okay to cry as a man.
That's what I believe. I cry all the time. I cry myself to sleep most nights.
You don't cry. You don't, James. You don't care about anything. You don't care if your mate has to work a 10-hour day and deliver you food. All right, Jumbo. Let's get into it.
Cool.
So Man United and Everton, it's been a really, really interesting time for both clubs, and people might think to themselves, they've got nothing in common. But I want to take you into something that's happened in my own life and lessons I've learned. And I'm old now. I'm old. As you can see, we don't really have nice cameras, so you can actually see that I'm aging in the face. So I've done a lot of stuff, I think. Maybe not. But I've learned a few lessons, harsh ones. Brought those on myself. But let me tell you something from personal experience. When you start making bad decisions in life, it's really, really, really hard to stop making those. Right? It's incredibly hard to stop making bad decisions. Once you make one, it's incredible how quickly the next bad decision comes and the next one follows. And before you know it, 6 or 7 bad decisions and you're in the mire. Often bad decisions actually really serve our needs or don't serve our needs. They serve our desires. So we often make them. There'll be a vice or a person or whatever it may be. And the examples I think that everyone can understand is people leave jobs that they love, that are stable, with great leadership, for a little bit more money, for a slightly nicer German car, for a little bit more of a petrol allowance, to be at the office in the middle of the city, so you can tell people. But you left a great job, with great leadership, with stability, with great work, with secure work, just so you can tell people, I work at this bank, I work at this marketing company. In the end, it was a bad decision. We've all seen it. People leave a solid husband, a solid wife, for a better looking party girl or a party guy. We've all seen that one. Before you know it, he or she, 3 or 4 girlfriends, boyfriends later, they're drinking on Sunday nights, they're in their mid-40s, and it's all falling apart. We've all seen it. When you start, take it from me, I have no shame. I did it in my 20s, and I'm working hard not to repeat these mistakes. When you make bad decisions, it is incredible how quickly the second bad decision follows, the third one follows. And before you know it, bad decisions become your character. It's not like good decisions. Good decisions you have to make over an extremely long time. Hey, in a year, you make 4 bad decisions. That's who you are now. You lie to your partner 4 times in a year. You lie to your boss 4 times in a year. That's who you're not. It eats away at your character. And it's so true of companies as well. May 2013 perhaps changed the life of Everton and Manchester United forever. Perhaps forever. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Perhaps Man United and Everton in 2013 were changed forevermore. In May 2013, Everton replaced David Moyes with Roberto Martinez. Manchester United chased David Moyes, and forevermore, since that day, neither club has been the same. When you think back, neither should have happened. David Moyes was never Man United level. It's not about his coaching. It's got nothing to do with his ability. We've seen what he can do. But folks, in life, you got to know what you are. His skill, and we're seeing it at West Ham now again, is he takes mid-level talent and he gets them to perform above their standard. He's a better motivator than he is a tactician. That's not an insult. We are who we are in life. Everton forgot that, and Man United forgot it. You have to, in life, as a person, and I didn't in my 20s, and I'm still trying to learn now in my mid-30s, what is your core? What is your core? Man United and Everton forgot that in May 2013. Moyes should never have gone to Man United, and there is no ways Everton should have ever let him go. No ways. Both clubs forgot their core. Bad decisions become your character very quickly. Listen, in life, we are terrible at this. All of us, I include myself, I am awful at it. We are so bad at discerning between character and behavior. Those are not the same thing. Because David Moyes was behaving like a Man United manager, but he didn't have the character of a Man United manager. You know that. I know that. Folks, since May 2013, I'm going to give you a list of the Everton managers. It's quite astonishing. Roberto Martinez, Ronald Koeman, Sam Allardyce, Silva, and Carlo Ancelotti. That's 5 and 6 years. They had one for 12. That's 5 managers in 6 years at what ultimately is one of the most stable sporting institutions in the history of sport. Are you aware that they are one of the teams that have never been relegated from the English top league? I don't mean just English sport. Everton is one of the most consistent sporting institutions globally ever. And they went away from their core. They're working class. They had their guy. Right? He was their Fergie. He was perfect. He was the perfect underdog character. And if you think of them in Liverpool, what do you think of Everton as? Underdog. He was pushing top 6 then. Imagine him now. If they just stuck with him another 5 years, then the money comes, and then Liverpool are in trouble. But now they've gone away from their character, and they've gone with erratic behavior. I mean, Martinez, Koeman, Allardyce, Silva, Ancelotti, it's been a mess. They don't know what they are anymore. Money doesn't change people. It makes them more of who they are. When they made that decision to let him go to Man United, and it's on him and it's on Everton, they showed they weren't aware of their core. Man United, since May 2013, aren't much better. It's been Moyes, LVG, Jose, and they're on Ollie. That's 4. They had one for 27 years. They had one manager for 27 years. Folks, I know it's difficult for most of us in life. Discipline's an incredibly hard thing. But there's a reason why Netflix are disciplined and win. There's a reason why Amazon wins. There's a reason why Microsoft wins. Apple. They have a model and they stick to the plan. The Man United didn't stick to the plan. Everton didn't stick to the plan. Everton should never have gone for Carlo Ancelotti. Folks, I know we live in this world now where everyone must be friends and everyone must get along. If you're a hippie, you're not going to date a model for long. Sorry. This nonsense that opposites attract, it's rubbish. They don't. Get that out of here. This is not Instagram, it's real life. You want to meet somebody who's kind of similar to you, has the same core values, get with them, and you embrace their idiosyncrasies. People are tough. Life's hard. Stop telling me about opposites attract. They don't. It's nonsense. This is not Instagram. It's real life. Grow up. Everton forgot that. Man United forgot that. Fergie was perfect for them, and Moyes was perfect for Everton. Since 2013, Martinez, Koeman, Allardyce, Silva, Ancelotti. Been a mess. Man United have had Moyes, LVG, Jose, and Ollie. Folks, Ancelotti was never going to work. I'm not shocked he's left. I'm shocked that they're shocked. I'm shocked that they're shocked. What both clubs forgot, and for some of us in life, we have to learn the hard way. Not everybody should be getting married. Some people should just be dating their whole. You got to learn this, right? Everton were at their best when they had a stable manager for over a decade. Manchester United were at their best when they had a manager for over 2.5 decades. That's your character. Stop trying to be Chelsea. Stop trying to be Man City. You're not Real Madrid. You are not. That is not your core. Everton and Man United are more similar in their character than they want to admit. The money doesn't change it. What is in the fabric of the club? Both clubs, right, are better when they're married. But we all know these guys and girls. 10, 15 years into a marriage, I love my partner, but I'm bored. And it's not in their character to actually be single. But then they get a convertible, right? And then they get the 21-year-old model girlfriend or boyfriend. We know these people. Everton and Man United need to realize that their character is that they like the security of a single leader. They forgot that, they moved away from their character and core values, and it's been a shambles. And it's a good lesson for all of us in business. It's a difficult exercise, but it's possible. Know your core and stick to those core principles. And it hurts sometimes. It hurts to stick to your principles because it means you got to sacrifice and be disciplined. And as the great Eliud Kipchoge says, only the disciplined ones are free. Right? If you are not disciplined, you are a slave to your moods. You are a slave to your desires. That's not how Netflix win. That's not how Amazon win, Toyota win, Netflix. That's not how these guys win. It's not about how you feel. It's about what must happen. And character determines that for me. And I think Everton and Man United are learning the hard way. And it's a big warning to Arsenal as well. Arsenal are actually lucky. You know how often in life we miss these things? My father is a very disciplined man. And he has a very cold way of putting it. And as I get older, you know, I am my father's son, I'm agreeing more and more. My father used to say this all the time. Only idiots learn from their own mistakes. Only idiots learn from their own mistakes. Arsenal are in a super fortunate position. You've made a mistake, right, with Unai Emery already. Now you know what it's like when you make bad decisions. Stick with Arteta. Because when were you most successful? George Graham, Arsene Wenger. Long term. Long term. Folks, some of us should be married and not dating. Some of us are happier with the security of a wife, a picket fence, and 2 dogs. If that's who you are, be who you are. Everton and Man United need to learn that. Arsenal need to know that's who they are as well. My father used to say it, only idiots learn from their own mistakes. Arsenal should learn from Everton, learn from Man United. Stop chasing every manager out there. Put all your eggs in Arteta's basket. It's going to be painful, and I've said to you, it's going to take Arsenal another 5 years. But invest in the guy, settle down, and go back to who you are. Because ultimately, Man United are settled now under Oli. You see what happens when you actually act to your core? United haven't been this good since 2013. Know who you are. Everton forgot, Man United forgot, and Arsenal have the opportunity of a lifetime to learn from someone else's mistakes. My father used to say it, and these words ring in my head all the time. Only idiots learn from their own mistakes. You've seen Everton, you've seen Man United falter hugely. And folks, it happens. If you run a business, and in my personal life, it may not be true for you, but I'm just telling you, when you make one bad decision, Martinez becomes Koeman, becomes Allardyce, becomes Silva, becomes Ancelotti. Moyes, becomes LVG, becomes Jose, becomes where we are now. Be very, very careful to go with how you feel instead of your principles. What are your core values? Know those, stick to those, and ultimately in the long term, I know we live in social media times. I know. Do it now. It has to happen now. It's not for everybody. Listen, Man City, Chelsea, yes, because that's who they are. That's how they were built. That's their core values. Roman is the core value at Chelsea. He's a mining and oil magnate. High risk, high reward. That is in the core of the club. Man City, big money. Oil, again, big splash. And again, Arabic culture, long-term thinking. Know who you are, stick to your principles. It's a big warning to Arsenal. I'm telling you now, the move is to stick to your core principles. Mikel Arteta is your guy. Stick to it. It'll be painful, like a marriage for the first 5 years. It's painful. You move to a new home. You don't live with mommy anymore. You don't get to fight with your husband or wife and run home all the time. You got to lie next to somebody who you may hate sometime. Know your core values. Stick to them. Man United, Everton. It's more similar than they realize. More similar than they realize. Jimbo, your thoughts?
I mean, I have many, if that's what you're wondering.
Let's hear them.
I never thought about it like that, actually. That Man United and Everton are so similar. I think Man United have had their period of growth, and a lot of it has come with backlash towards Solskjaer, towards the players, towards Paul Pogba. But I think Man United are in an interesting place now where I think they are almost at the level to be able to sort of compete and actually be a real threat. I know myself, I've become complacent with Man United. Like when Liverpool play against them, I'm just like, okay, it's Man United. They're in this weird time, so it's just an easy win. Yeah. But I think finishing second in both the Premier League and the Europa League shows mass amounts of progress. Everton, I don't know. It's tricky for me. I think Everton still have a long way to go. And I think that's now been extended with Ancelotti leaving. I think they need to find a manager that's the right fit for them, not just someone with a name. I don't know. I think both clubs are in completely different times in their club. One's sort of finishing this transition stage, and the other one is kind of somewhere in the middle. But I don't know. I think next season will definitely be interesting for Manchester United. Everton, can't put my finger on them. Not gonna lie to you.
You know what? As I was thinking about this topic last night, I was looking for examples in my life, because I see businesses and families as the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I know we live in like this open, permissive time, but and I thought of 3 families in particular that have been in my life for over 30 years. And I know the families inside out. I know all of the challenges the marriages had. But 2 of the families have a matriarch. So, I mean, obviously, man and woman work or have worked for a long time. But ultimately, in 2 of the marriages, the ladies make the final call, actually. Like when it's a big financial thing or something with the kids, it's always worked that way. Is that at some stage, you need to actually have people making decisions, but it needs to be clear who's making the call, because then you know where you're making the call from. It's like in today's age, if you want to make, and I'm not big on decision by committee, because what tends to happen, and I think it's what's frustrating Man United fans quite a bit, is when you make a decision by committee, eventually, when things go wrong, especially, and things always go wrong in life, nobody knows where to start, and then you can't fix it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's what's happened at both clubs. And it's been so interesting for me when I thought about these families, was the clubs or the families became the personality of the leader. And it's so true when I think of my friends and those families today, how they conduct themselves. That matriarch or the father who's in charge of the family and ultimately makes the final call, the families express themselves through that person's personality. And for Man United and Everton, I kind of feel like they'd forgotten what their character was, you know, like how they should make decisions. Because it's like, you know, when you know your relationship's in trouble, is that you start thinking, oh, I wish my girlfriend could be like that other person. So you start looking at other relationships for how your girlfriend should be or boyfriend should be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's when you're in trouble. Because Man United and Everton were trying to behave like Chelsea and Man City. And they're not those clubs. That's not how they won. That's not who they are. You know what I mean? You got to do things, just like you were saying about your sweatpants earlier, James, is that you got to do who you are. And that's really hard in life. That's why Amazon, they get all the pushback. Elon Musk, all the pushback. But they do what they do. And whether you like it or not, because they've stuck to their principles for 15, 20 years, they are crushing everyone now. That's how United won. Stick to our principles. We're not going to listen to anyone. Fergie's going to make the right transfer calls. He will bully the FA. He will bully the refs, right? And we don't care. We are Man United. We will dominate, and we are the apex. And, I mean, famously, Fergie time. I mean, that's a part of... That just tells you what Fergie was. You know what I mean? And Moyes was incredible getting top 6 at Everton. But it's because he was the character. You know, and at that stage, I feel like United and Everton weren't looking outside for how to behave. Because for me, that's when you get in trouble in general. Businesses and personal life.
It's interesting. I don't often analyze Everton. Like you said, when it comes to Liverpool versus Everton, Everton are the underdogs, and like you say, I think they've definitely lost their way, and it's hard to see where they had the 12-year manager in David Moyes, but I mean, how do you pre-plan for Man United coming along and offering your manager a job? Not a lot of managers are going to turn down the Manchester United job.
Listen, I blame Moyes for that as well. Is that, listen, he's not that level manager, right? He should have known that. And again, that's an ego thing. And I know people go, oh, you got to give him props for giving it a go at the top. No, I don't do that at all. Is that know who you are and stick in your lane, because it's not for everybody. It's like when I speak to a few young people now about entrepreneurship, because I know on Instagram and on social media and on movies, people think entrepreneurship is like a little bit painful at the beginning, but then in the middle you find an investor, and then after 3-4 years your business gets funded. I say, if a decade of anxiety and not having food is not for you, don't be an entrepreneur. And I say that in all seriousness. I've been in business for myself now, going properly into my 9th year. 8.5 of those have been living month to month. So you got to know who you are in life. And that is on Moyes as well. You don't give him an excuse. He should have sat down, and I promise you, if he'd gone to his wife and 2 or 3 of his closest friends, he would never have gone to Man United. Not because they're trying to hold him back, because they know who he is. You know, we are always the last, all of us as human beings, we are always the last people to see ourselves for what we are. And yeah, there's philosophical theory on it. Your good friend Immanuel Kant talks about it. James told me about Immanuel Kant a couple of years ago. And your other good friend, um, Sigmund Freud, and he talks about, of course, the superego and its role in this type of thing is that David Moyes did not see himself for what he was. He saw himself for what he wanted to be. And the great Friedrich Nietzsche says, all human suffering is the gap between what we are and who we want to be. Right? So there's a big gap, and in psychoanalysis we call it the real self and the ideal self. So Nietzsche says the gap between who you actually are and who you think you are, that gap, if you don't close that gap, that is the amount of suffering you'll have in life. And listen, Moyes is a great example of that. I don't know where he was going.
Do you think if Man United gave him the same chance they gave Ollie, that he would be better or worse at the same time?
I don't think he would have made it, Jim. I just think there are managers for different tiers. Moyes is a motivator, and you can see it at West Ham now. Is some people like Pep Guardiola, like Fergie, at the top end, Mourinho. That's why at the very top clubs, you can see it now. The merry-go-round is the same, guys. There's very few people that have the emotional maturity, right, to go and coach Cristiano Ronaldo, tolerate his ego, and then tolerate his superstar. Very few people can handle that. Very few people can look at Leo Messi and find the button that pushes him. David Moyes is no worse, I would imagine, at knowing the X's and O's than Jose Mourinho. They went to the same coaching schools. But when it comes to the psychological part, I mean, the great Bill Shankly, you know him, of course, from your waste of a football club, James. But he said that this thing's not about X's and O's. It's not about coaching. Ultimately, when you have great players, it's about being a psychologist. And Moyes just isn't on that level. It's not an insult to him. James, I can't design like you. I can sit here all day and go to AFTA and do 4-year courses. I'm about as creative as a sloth, right? Like, it's not going to happen. I got to be real. As much as we want to be everything, we are not. And it's hard. I know social media tells you anything's possible. It's not. Stop that. So, Moisey, a little self-awareness goes a long way. So, you don't forgive him for that. He took the opportunity. It was a massive mistake. I think we all knew it at the time. And I think ultimately Man United are learning a lesson that because if they fire Ollie again, they're essentially Everton on a budget.
Do you think Ollie is the one to take them to the top?
You know what I think? Is that sometimes in life is you need to know what will take you back to what you are. Even if Ollie is not the guy, just forget about winning for now. Like Man United must stop thinking they're Man United of 2010, 28, 29, right? You're not that club anymore. You're probably third or fourth. Liverpool are probably actually better than, if you take the last 5 years, they're a better club than Man United right now, performance-wise, whether they like it or not. They're behind Chelsea, they're behind Man City in reality, right? Just settle down. Okay, you've had 3 or 4 or 5 bad divorces. Settle down, find somebody who's a grown-up, and get back to your roots. And here's the thing, James, when you make bad decisions, and again, I'll take you to my personal experiences. When you make bad decisions for a long time, it erodes your character. And unfortunately, it doesn't work this way. It's not one bad decision, one good decision cancels each other out. That's not how it works. It's one bad decision, about 50 good decisions. That's really how you cancel it out. So Man United have been making bad decisions for 8 years now. 13, yeah, that's 8 years. They need to just keep Ollie and be realistic. You're not going to win the title for the next 3 or 4 years. You're not there as an institution. You don't have the playing staff. and ultimately you're not there. What you can do though is get back your character, because Man United have no character, right? You know, Man United, when you think about the great United teams, you never thought of their ability, really. Like, let's be honest. You always thought of the character. Pallister, Robson, Keane, Carrick, Neville. He's not Dennis Irwin. We're not talking about Marcelo or Danny Alves here, or, you know what I mean? But you're talking about a certain character, a steel, right? Which Man United have moved away from. When have you ever known Man United to be the flair club? Pogba and Bruno and these guys. Never. Not when they were successful. Even with Ronaldo, Tevez and Rooney, you think about that team, it was all work rate and power, right? Vidic, Evra, that was all power and bullying from the midfield. Park Ji-sung, that powerful drive from the midfield. That was a bullying club. It wasn't about flair and finesse, and that's not who Man United are. They're not Tottenham. They're not Real Madrid. They're not Barcelona. They've never been a flair club. Settle down, get back to who you are, and it's going to take some time, because when you dump your wife and you have 3 party girlfriends, right? It's going to take you some time to actually realize, oh, I actually need somebody at home who's home at 5 o'clock, who I can talk to about my day. You know what I'm saying, James?
I get you. Yeah.
And I think it's hard because, especially now, Man United, I think I've told you this before. It's a lot easier to make good decisions in your life and have some value or some self-worth if your sibling is doing well, but they live in Australia. For some personality types, right? Sometimes if your big brother or big sister is in the same place and you have a certain personality type, you can shrink if they're around you and every time at family lunch, you know what I mean? You're talking about their big deal and whatever it may be. That can be hard for some siblings. And I think Man United are going through that right now, right? Do you know what I mean? Is that all they have to do now, if they want to see what successful is pop their head out the window. You know, like it's not like we're talking about Crystal Palace taking over football. It's like there was a sign. You're the noisy neighbors now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a whole different beast to actually go, you know what? We're going to stick to our core principles regardless of how loud it's getting here. And that's hard, man. That's how Amazon have won all these great companies. They don't try and follow other people. Toyota aren't trying to be Tesla. They're not trying to be Tesla. They're doing what they're doing. And you know what? I was reading a report a couple of days ago. Sold the most cars in the world last year. I know everybody thinks Tesla is the way to go. And who sold the most cars in the world last year? Toyota. So, you know, you got to have some chutzpah and some self-worth to make high character decisions. And I think United, if they know what they are, that they've got to settle down with Ollie and just bite the bullet. It's going to be another 4 or 5 rough years because you've made terrible signings, right? And when you make bad decisions in life, it becomes your character. It rots you from the inside. Man United have rotted from the inside because you know what happens is the Man United youngsters, the levels drop. Young people like to see examples of what they want to be. You can't just tell them theory. There's a reason why that generation after Giggs and them was decent. Fletcher and them came through. Is that the standard was sky high. So even within Manchester United now, the standard is nowhere. It is nowhere within Manchester United. And maybe Ollie's the guy. You know what? Ollie has to be the guy to at least bring that back. That's what I do.
Interesting.
That's what I do, dude.
I think
It's a tough time.
I don't think Man United fans are used to having to be patient though when it comes to waiting for silverware or waiting for the world to change. See what I did there?
Listen, you know what? You know what they thought? And this is, again, know who you are. They thought the money could save them. But like any marriage, any relationship, once you've made horrible decisions a couple of times, there is no money saving bad character.
Yeah.
Because money, and actually, you know what it's done for Man United and Everton? Money doesn't change you. It makes you more of who you are. All it's done is expose Man United and Everton to go, here's how far you are off track. because they've tried to throw money at the problem, right? I mean, Man United, 800 million spent in the last 4 seasons, and they are nowhere.
Casually.
So money doesn't solve problems. You can't. The great Stephen Covey has an awesome saying, right? He says, you can't talk your way out of something you behaved yourself into. And it's such a great saying. And it applies to Man United and Everton now. Essentially, you can't buy your way out of bad decisions. You just cannot in life. You cannot. So Stephen Covey, absolutely cracking. You cannot talk your way out of something you behaved yourself into. So what Man United and Everton are going to have to do is show us over the next 4 or 5 seasons that they can make a series of good decisions.
It'll be interesting to see, especially Manchester United. I think they've got a lot to prove over the last considering their track record over the last 8 or so years. They've got a lot to prove to a lot of people, not just United fans, but I think fans in many different other leagues that are used to seeing Manchester United on top. For Everton, West Ham's the new Everton, apparently.
Hey, listen, the reality of life is this. James, you've got a mother. She's raised 3 of you guys.
That is a fact. Correct. Yeah. Nice.
And if you asked her, I bet one day I'll just ask her, like, the hardest part of being successful as a family. And successful is not being perfect, right? She's got 3 sons. I think you've got 1 still left in high school, but I'm sure she'll tell you, and I may be wrong. I mean, I don't want to speak on her behalf if I'm wrong. But let me tell you the thing that my mom says to me all the time is that there is no reward for what you did a year ago as a parent. What have you done for your kids lately? Because you take an eye, like your younger brother now, if she's not there every day, emotionally supporting him, could be a mess. So what Man United need to realize, no one cares what you did in 1999. What have you done for me lately? And 8 years tells me, Man United are no better. And this is not about hating on Man United. I'm just telling you what it is Man United are no better now than a West Ham, than a Southampton. They've really been in the league for 8 years.
Mm.
And that's the standard set by them. Money is not going to solve that. You've got to get your character right. Institutions are living, breathing things. Anyway, love to know what people think. I'm MKT Inspires on social media. Jimbo, your handles.
James _ Ilsley on the gram. ILSLEY. And then on the tweets, it's at Ilsley James. ILSLEY.
James, before we move on, so yeah, that's United Everton. I'd love to know what people think. Hit us up on the socials, hashtag the MKT Show live. I'd love to know where you guys are watching or listening from. If you are listening to this after we've recorded live, I'd love to know, because when I look at some of the podcast sort of figures, it's incredible where people are listening to the podcast. And you know, it's the beauty of being on Cliff Central is that you also get to see and you hear the management talk about where some of the listeners are. I mean, Azerbaijan, Qatar, where was the one? Myanmar.
What?
Yeah. Got a couple of listeners from there. I forget, some unbelievable place. Australia. So, you know, not just us, but Cliff Central as a network. It's awesome that we are with people around the world. So I'd love to see some photos. Hashtag the MKT Show live. Where you're listening, how you're listening will be awesome. It's at Cliff C Sport. You can tag us, or you can tag me at MKT Inspires, or James, if you are James _ Ilsley, huh?
On the gram, yeah.
Or Twitter is Ilsley _ James.
No, just Ilsley James.
Ilsley James. All right. ILS.
I'm going to let you try and spell it. Go.
ILSLEY.
There you go. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's tough being imperfect, huh?
Well, I didn't go to St. Stadium, so actually the money my parents paid for school, you know, taught us things like rules and spelling. All right, Jimbo, should we take an intermission?
Let's do it.
My name is MKT. This is the MKT Show. See you in a bit. Welcome back to the MKT Show with me, MKT. Great to have you with us. By the way, if you're a hardworking citizen and you think to yourself, you know what? I don't have time to have my screaming boss looking over me at midday. Well, it's more like 2 o'clock now. But if you're in the Republic of South Africa, wherever you are, and you can't actually just sneak away to listen to this incredible show, and you think to yourself, oh my goodness, my life is over, I can't listen to this. Oh, you are wrong. Because I know if you're working hard, you got a family, girlfriend, boyfriend, family you want to see, you know what I mean? Unlike James just doesn't care anybody. He'll just inconvenience all of us.
It's correct.
But if you want to listen to this podcast in your own time on the treadmill while you're crushing it, it is the MKT Show. It's available on cliffcentral.com, the Cliff Central app, or wherever you get your podcasts. James, I'm just letting you know.
Oh, I'm very well aware. I run the show, so I know these things.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I also know that there's a poll.
Now, a lot of people are saying, is that Robert Lewandowski?
Yes,
Because he's also a poll.
He is a poll. No, there's a poll on Twitter that Cliff Central Sport has just put out.
Years ago, the ancient Greeks pontificated.
Where?
There's one for you, James. Pontificated.
Is that just a more pretentious word for pondered?
What did you say the other day? Brooding means pregnant. So pontificate means pregnant. Let's just I'll keep it simple for you.
Okay, cool.
So that you don't do, it can get complicated.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the ancient Greeks, they pontificated about this thing. And eventually they called it politics. And within politics, and they decided, how do we get the working class to actually control them and make them think they got power? Said, you know what we should do? Let's organize a racket. We'll call it voting. It's democratic because it feels democratic. Yeah, but I can't change the quality of my drinking water. It's never quite as democratic as we hope, but, it's something, James. And ultimately, people want to exercise their rights in this world.
Correct.
And ultimately, they want to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, I want to present to you a poll, not Robert Lewandowski, but in fact, one where you can exercise your right to vote. James, how does it work? What is it? Where do I vote? And how do I make it happen?
Cliff C Sport on Twitter. If you just go there, you'll see the poll is our latest tweet. And your poll for today is Antonio Conte is in talks with Spurs to become their new manager. What are your thoughts? I'm going to tell you your options. Finally, some silverware and stay far away are your two choices.
Wow.
Yeah. Cliff C Sport on Twitter.
On the tweet monster.
On the tweets. We've already had a couple of votes. Currently, it is 75% of people are saying that Tottenham are going to win silverware with Antonio Conte.
I'll tell you what, I'll do the Conte thing tomorrow. It might be similar to what I've been saying today, but I'm looking forward to Daniel Levy. And listen, something that never gets enough of a shout out.
Wait, let me guess it. The SPCA.
Yeah, no, sure. Peter.
Yeah.
Listen, Antonio Conte's hairline, along with Andros Townsend's hairline, their recovery just over the last sort of 5 years, incredible. Doesn't get enough of a shout out. Antonio Conte was completely bald as a player.
And now he's got a full head of hair that looks
like a raccoon.
Sexy.
Like a raccoon. Just plush.
What a boy, huh?
Yeah, what a guy. So what you got to do, I mean, how it's happened, I don't want to get into it. I just want to give it a shout out,
What you got to do is actually become mega stinking rich, because if you also look at Ronaldo, and everyone has seen this image before, I'm very certain, of the comparison between Ronaldo at like Sporting and Man United and Ronaldo now, and he's got like the perfect teeth, no pimples, perfect skin, but at Sporting he had like teeth that were actually attacking each other, and it was just all over the place. You just got to get stinking rich. Then you can buy hair growth, can fix your teeth.
A little harsh considering you was a teenager back then, James. I think we all went through our phase. But
I had terrible teeth as a young person, younger than I am now. I actually had these two teeth here next to my two front teeth. They were actually facing sideways like this. It looked horrible. And now I'm sexy. Look at me.
no, wait, hold on. Do the teeth thing again that you were showing us there.
Which teeth thing?
Well, which teeth?
It's the two teeth next to the Bugs Bunny teeth.
That's so insulting. For thousands of years, since a guy called Hippocrates. You know who that is, Jim?
The Greek dude, right?
Yeah. Okay. You're not.
Nailed it.
A friend of mine said I should stop. I have to stop making you feel, because I do have this thing of being a douchebag. Because I have no friends, so I read lots of books. I shouldn't be putting you down. I should kind of teach you in a respectful manner. She said I must stop talking down to you.
Is this the same person?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Don't even get into it. Yes, it's the same person who gave
The
incredibly rough feedback.
I'm confused with where I stand with this person, but I'm not going to let it affect me. So.
Well, she's a good person. I told you, she's a lawyer for big time mining companies. So she's stern but fair. She's not. She's not about being popular. She's about the right thing to do.
That's my life motto.
So yeah, my point was this guy. So doctors have to undertake something called the Hippocratic Oath, James.
I am aware of what that is.
Yeah, so the guy Hippocrates.
Yeah.
Is the guy. Anyway, doctors have worked incredibly hard in the Western world and the Eastern world to figure things out. For you to call them the Bugs Bunny teeth, it's just such an insult to science.
I think when I'm referring to myself and calling it that, it's okay. But if I'm referring to someone else and I'm like, ha, lol, you've got Bugs Bunny teeth, then it's kind of like that's when it becomes insulting.
So are you saying you've got big teeth?
These two front teeth used to be massive. I used to have, and
Suarez vibes.
Yeah, I used to have the
Tompers.
biggest. Is it an overbite?
Yes.
Yes. I used to have an overbite. The two teeth on the side were practically like sideways. And now look at me. I didn't even need money to like Ronaldo vibes this stuff. Puberty was just like, hey James, you got a tough card. Here you go.
Did you wear braces?
I did.
Oh, okay, so there was a bit of money involved there.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question.
Yeah, so actually you do need money. The old adage, and I've heard it, and it's kind of good for people like me who are sort of aesthetically challenged. You're not ugly, you're just broke. So there's hope for me yet. I just got to make, what do you reckon, another $8 to $10 million? Who knows what's possible?
I think, I mean, I don't know how much braces cost nowadays, but when I had them, they were relatively expensive. Maybe you just need, how much does plastic surgery cost? It depends what you want to fix, actually.
Oh, I mean, look at this. Look at this mess. You see me in real life. Where do you start?
Oof, that is a good question. Large forehead, receding hairline at the age of 35.
Yep.
It's just, the nose is also a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe you need like a solid 1 to 2 bar, maybe.
What about doing? You ever seen the classic film? Famous Scientologist. Well, not Nick Cage is not a Scientologist. Travolta is. Face Off. You ever seen Face Off?
We had the DVD at my old house.
I just said the word DVD. I'm so offended.
I never watched it though, because like when Face Off was a thing, I was too young.
Yeah. Face Off. I might need to do Face Off. You should watch it so you know what I mean.
Why? So, actually, question. We had a conversation yesterday while we were trying to troubleshoot.
Yep.
About DVDs, and you asked me what I do during load shedding, right? And I told you that sometimes I watch the DVDs that I've got, and you said yesterday that the fact that I said DVD offended you, and you said it now too. Why does it offend you?
Because it's 2021. Why do you have physical things like that when you can easily buy the same thing digitally?
Why do I need to buy the same thing digitally if I've got the DVD?
And also, you can digitize those. Are you aware of that? That it's not what do you call it? Pirating. If you went and digitized your own original copy.
As far as I was aware, those DVDs are actually protected so that you can't digitize them. Because
Oh, really?
if I can just like rip Batman the Dark Knight, I don't know why that was the first one that came to my head. Anyway,
Oh, it's the best movie ever made.
absolutely.
according to Leon Carabo, yeah.
I've got the director's cut in the straw behind me. Anyway, if I could just rip that and there was no sort of privacy around it, what would stop 10 million people from doing it and then selling it on some like market?
Well, again, good people like me and David Attenborough is that what stops you is trying to be a good person. No one's perfect. Oh, okay. There we go. James says people aren't good.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
Your face said it, though.
if every person in this world was good, we'd live in a completely different world. There's
Well,
some bad people out there, bro.
No one's perfect. I'm also not saying I'm perfect, and I used to pirate. I want to be very honest, but I work in the biz now. Is that you'd want to do it ethically, and it's possible. But to me, I find it offensive that people still. Like, I saw someone with CDs the other day. I was like, what? Is a dinosaur going to come through this room and eat us all now?
Can I tell you what the first CD I owned was?
Let me guess, because you would be a yuppie kid from the northern suburbs. You'd want to be rebelling at your age. I'm guessing like Eminem or something like that. Like, just fight the man.
I do love Eminem, but it wasn't. Think more.
White guy.
Think more sensitive soul. Life is hard, and I need music to
My
relate
Chemical
to.
Romance.
No, less rock and upbeat, more sort of.
Adele.
No.
Okay, you can tell me.
Westlife.
Oh my god, folks, just want to say, all right. The other day, one of the most disgusting things that has ever happened in my life happened on this incredible show. James thought the song Mandy, which Westlife covered, I presume it was on that album, James. It's obviously got
No, it's
good memories for you.
not on that album that I got. Like, it wasn't on the first album that I ever had, but it is on one of them. It's on their greatest hits album.
Yeah. The fact that he thought that Barry Manilow should just be shoved in a river after he wrote that song about his dog. Obviously, we've learned today that James doesn't care about animals, so he doesn't care that Barry Manilow lost his dog and it was all about that. He doesn't care. It was just incredible for you to think Westlife wrote any of their songs, but moreover that song in particular. It's hilarious. All right, so Westlife, huh? What about Westlife in your fields? How old were you then?
Sure. I think probably somewhere between 8 and... Wait, how old are you when you're in grade 5? You're 11, right? No.
Well, it depends, James. I mean, with some of your spelling, you
Okay, how old are the...
in grade 5.
Yeah, so it was probably... I was between 8 and 10 years old. I had my own like CD player thingy that had radio, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Then I'd close my door, and then I'd play You Raise Me Up, which was song number 1 on that album. Play Raise Me Up very, very, very loud in my room with the door
Shout
closed.
out. Those boys could sing. Let's not haters gonna hate, but they could sing.
They could, and they made a return, I think 2 years ago. They got back together. Not all of them. The guy that left the first time round when they were still a thing never rejoined.
A distant memory. How happy you made me, oh Mandy.
That's my boys.
That's actually, it's not. It's Harry Manilow. But shout out to Westlife. I'm not a hater, dude.
Westlife's vibes, dude.
Oh, go have it, Jimbo.
Vibes. Westlife
Really?
is vibes. On the right
Westlife.
day and in the right mood, they're vibes.
did you ever make mix CDs for a girlfriend? Because I know that was a thing for a while. Like, I had my first girlfriend only at the age of like proper girlfriend in my 20s. I remember because it was an international relationship, so I used to send her songs.
No, no.
Oh, you never made a mixtape for a girlfriend?
I don't think so. No,
Probably,
I don't
why
think
they
I
left you.
knew how to.
Probably
And
why they left you.
yeah, probably. It's probably why I cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, should have made them a mixtape, dude. I'm telling you, it's a, especially in your teens, it's a closer, dude.
And I'm just sad and alone. Not alone. I'm
No,
just
no, you got a beautiful lady now. You're a good guy.
no. But
You got it.
when
You've
I
been raised well.
when I say alone, I just mean for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I forget you are from the northern suburbs. A little bit of inconvenience, you know,
Absolutely.
for 10 days.
I can't just pop into the Woolies down the road, you know?
You know what it is about yuppies, like globally, is, and I see why your friend has to bring you food, James. You know, like poor people are used to dealing with their problems on their own, right? Yuppies like you, it's like, well, I've never known inconvenience. So if I'm going to be inconvenienced, you better bloody believe everyone else is as well.
You see, that's where you're wrong. Because you forget that I wasn't part of that whole thing at Saints where mommy drove a Land Rover and then after dropping me off at school went to Mug and Bean with the other mummies to speak about how Karen has gotten a new cat and they named it Lilo. And then they also speak about how Craig's doing really, really well at the investment firm. I wasn't part of that whole thing. Like, my mom had a job, stepdad had a job, had to stay at school until like 4 o'clock because mom had a job.
Wait. Don't list that as a thing you. That's not an achievement.
But
No, stop that. You see, that is. So you've made my point for me. No, don't do that. Folks, this guy went to top 20 schools on the planet. Why are you listing staying at school? Because here's what I'm 1,000% certain of. Your mom's an awesome mother. James, here's some lunch as well as money for the tuck shop. So you were fine in an incredible school. Don't say I had to stay at school like you were in the pits of hell, James. Don't do that. I no. So that proves my point. It's not an
I'm not.
inconvenience that you've got to wait 2 hours for your mom to come fetch you.
I'm not.
James. She's at work grinding. You're talking like your mom was going to yoga class, right? No, she was at the office smashing it. Your stepdad was at the office or at the restaurant smashing it. It's so inconvenient. How dare they make you wait 2 extra hours, James? That's not. You see, so you've made my point. That's
No.
not an inconvenience.
I'm not having this debate. I'm
Well,
not.
let's hear it.
I
Okay,
refuse.
sorry, James.
No.
You weren't a part of it. Tell us the rest of the story.
No.
Got a bit dramatic.
No. Not having this debate. I just feel like. No, I'm not going to invest. I'm not.
You're doing it.
I'm not doing it because I'm going to say something again, and then it's going to be taken a completely different way than it should, and then we're going to go in circles, and we're a sports show.
Also, I just want to say it's a little bit of a shot at your mom, because what you're saying is she didn't do as well as other parents to make your life. That's what you don't realize. You're also saying.
My mother is quite possibly the most incredible human being on this planet.
I'm not doubting that. What I'm saying is what you don't realize by saying that it comes off as though you're saying, "Oh, my mom just couldn't leave an hour earlier."
No, that's not what I'm saying. Oh my god. Not having this debate.
Listen, you've grown up to be a decent bloke. You know, you've managed to get yourself. Hey, you're better off than me. Got yourself a beautiful lady. You pay for your own apartment. You know, you got yourself through college. You know, so you're not, from what I've seen, you're not a murderous, you know, abusive human. So that's quite good of you.
Well, I'm not a murderous, abusive human because and I might be alone on this one, I believe that murder is wrong and immoral.
Oh, it's because you're raised well.
Exactly.
Because you know why you were raised well? because you had a mother who was killing herself at the office and a stepfather who was killing while you, and I'm so sorry.
I'm not having, no,
I'm
I refuse.
sensitive enough.
I refuse.
James, it's on me. You know what?
Tell me.
Because I've got COVID, I'm in an empathetic stage. Right? My state of mind is empathetic. James, I'm wrong. I cannot believe you had to wait an extra hour and a half compared to everyone else at one of the nicest schools on planet Earth. I am so sorry. And you know what? That kind of trauma never leaves you. The plush fields of St. Stithians. That's the type of trauma that sticks with one, hey?
I'm not having this debate. I'm not.
All right, Jimbo.
Yes.
You know what's great about life?
Currently, everyone listening to this, and people that will listen to the version on Cliff Central, everyone's breathing oxygen at the moment. Yeah.
Sure, that's one element. That's great.
Yeah.
But the other element is that there's always room for redemption. I mean, after you've just trampled over your mother's efforts in life to give you everything that she could afford in her 24 hours that she had a day. I mean, there were 2 other sons to worry about and a husband. But, James had to wait at school and was a big problem. But you know what it is, James? And here's what I like about you. By the way, the hair is looking next level. What have you done today? Because it's gone bedhead / EQ cover look. That flow is insane today, dude.
These kind of hair days are the hair days that I am very, very proud of.
This is what dude, you are a thirst trap right now.
No, don't say that.
You are a thirst trap for the lady. By the way, compliment to your lady because, hey, one thing I know about ladies, they like a bit of that, like when the ladies go, oh, he's so good looking. That's shout out to your lady. Good for her. She's got exclusive access to you. So shout out to her, dude, making a good call. Superb flow today, James.
Look, she's managed to tame this wild stallion.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my Lord.
I cringed at myself there. I apologize for everyone listening.
So she's tamed the wild beast, you said?
She's tamed this wild stallion.
This wild stallion. Give you another saying. The great Socrates was married to a particularly unpleasant woman. By the way, Socrates, not the Brazilian footballer.
I was about to ask you if that's the one you were talking about.
Easy to confuse both philosophers. No, I meant the Greek one. Died a couple of years ago. Anyway, so he was married to this particularly unsavory woman. Her name was Xanthippe. And they asked him, Socrates, why are you married to this woman? She is terrible. And he said, the greatest trainer has to work on the most spirited animals. So, James, for your lady, man, maybe you're just like, you're a test. Your ego and your inability to wait for an extra half an hour while your mom is at a meeting, which is going to put food on your table at the end of the month. Maybe your lady's diluting all of that out of you. You know what I mean? She's kind of training you to become a grown-up.
Look, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers.
All right, okay. No, enough of that. Okay. All right. All right, Jimbo. My point was this, is once you've actually shown that you don't care about your mom, there's room for redemption.
Right.
You can turn it around, especially for you.
Uh-huh.
Because there is a segment coming up now.
Uh-huh.
It's named after you.
It is.
Because you are well raised. You're looking suave today. Maybe wear a turtleneck. I mean, with that hair, that beard, are you kidding me? If you rocked a turtleneck, I'm telling you, if that mauve top sweater of yours was a turtleneck, your lady would have to organize private security for the ladies to stay off you. Now, turtlenecks have made a huge comeback. But Jimbo, your time for redemption. Now, your mom, she may listen to the show a little bit later, and she may go, I can't believe you said that about me. But James, you're going to turn it around right now, because you're going to give the people what they want, when they want it, when they need it, because it's social media with James.
I don't know if that has the same effect while we're remote.
Oh, you got to stay consistent.
Well, look. So, Tokyo 2020 in Tokyo 2021, the president of the organizing committee has ruled out any cancellations or further postponements of the Olympics. So that's great news. We got Euros, we got Olympics at some point this year. I still have no idea when the Olympics are. But we have the Olympics confirmed and not being cancelled.
Excellent. Listen, now, let's be very clear. I am not a doctor.
No. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And not because I didn't have the chance, it's because I'm too dumb.
Correct. Very correct.
And same as James.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just two dumb guys who work on a sports show. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Having said that, life has to continue. Okay? I understand. We're in a pandemic. Blah, blah, blah. Fine. Everyone's the best person in the world on social media. There's nothing more revolting to me in life. And again, James, I bet if you ask your parents this, they'll tell you the same. You know, it's like parenthood. That's all citizens are. Like, they're just little kids that need to be managed. Is if you ask your mom, James, the older you get, maybe you wouldn't be ready for this convo now. And I know that sounds condescending because you're a grown man at 24. But ultimately, life is always crisis. Like if you, James, one day maybe your mom will discuss it with you to say the fires she was putting out behind the scenes at work. And I mean, marriages aren't perfect in her own marriage. With your other brothers, which she'd never want you to see, is life is constantly just putting out fires as you grow up, as you become an adult, right? Is that it revolts me when people want to shrink in life in disaster. Like, we're in a pandemic, absolutely. Let's stick to what we can when we can, and let's do what we can to be safe. But ultimately, you have to be willing to work and manage within crisis, because all of life is crisis all the time. Now, if you live in certain cities in the world and you're born into certain economic classes, maybe you're never exposed to chaos. But 99.9% of the world is chaos all the time. And you better learn, if you're young, you better learn now to work within chaos, because chaos is the constant and COVID may not go anywhere. We need to learn to operate within COVID. So I'm with the Japanese, dude. Press ahead. If you don't want to come, don't come.
Good old Japaneses.
Yeah, they are great. Have you been to Japan?
I haven't, no.
I can't wait to go to Japan, dude. I haven't been. But yeah, shout out. Let's get the Olympics going. If you don't want to come, don't come. Like, you know, we can't pander to everyone. Like, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Let's be as safe as we can. We know how serious COVID can be.
Do we? Do we know anyone that has it?
Well, you know, I don't want to go on about it, but I do have COVID myself, so I can speak as an expert. Oprah said you have to speak your own truth.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to bore people, but I'll give you a dossier about having COVID, its effects scientifically, but I don't want to go on about that. But again, honestly, Japan, it's the right way to do it. Let's manage chaos. Let's manage and try and keep our athletes safe and let them compete. The world at some stage must go on.
In the immortal words of Queen, the show... No, the show must go on.
Okay.
So I know how much you hate fan input into, or not fan input, but fan decision making. So goal.com, which is for those that don't know, a website that gives football news, fixtures, results, transfer news, everything football. And they, over the last while or so, have set up a Ballon d'Or favorites thing where you can go on and vote. And I wasn't able to find out who, like if there's any panel for it or if there's restricted to a certain amount of votes or how it works. But essentially the poll, or however they've done it, has come to an end, and now they have their results. The poll was about the favourites to win the 2021 Ballon d'Or. And there's a list of 20 players that fans and or journalists have voted for as their favorites. So I'm going to give you a list of 20 players that are the favorites. The favorites, because it's just a goal.com thing. It's not like an actual, UEFA thing. Anyway, so number 20 is Neymar.
Pathetic. Yeah.
Uh, 19 is Gerard Moreno, Villarreal player. Thomas Muller is 18th.
He's, I support Munchen and I've got a Thomas Müller top, but no.
Number 17, Jadon Sancho.
No, ridiculous. He was injured for a bit of the season, and no, he did nothing in the Bundesliga.
This is where it gets a little bit interesting for me. This player, I believe, should be a lot higher on this list. And I'm sure I'm not alone. In at 16, Luis Suarez.
No. Why? Won La Liga, got smashed by Chelsea. No.
Dude, the man has had a phenomenal season.
I don't know about phenomenal. Leo Messi still scored more goals than him. And Leo Messi's not even a striker.
I forgot it's the whole Leo Messi thing and he's the only player.
So what, are we going to grade on a curve? Like, he doesn't get 2 goals for every goals he scores.
Yeah, but when are we going to stop putting Messi in the top 5 just because he's Leo Messi?
Well, when he stops winning the Golden Boot Award as an attacking midfielder, maybe we'll stop then.
I'm so sure I'm not alone on this. Very, very sure. But Messi isn't the same player he was at least 2-3 years ago.
Okay, but he still won the Pichichi. So, doesn't that tell you how much better he is than everyone else? You're saying he's half the player he was. Why couldn't Suarez get more goals than him? So no.
I look forward to a time where Messi isn't selected things because his name is Leo Messi.
But why are you saying that? He was the top goal scorer in Spain. Why? So are you saying his goals counted double? Did he only score 15?
No, I just find it a little bit bizarre because football fans know that the Ballon d'Or isn't only based on you as an individual, but it's also based on your contributions to the club in terms of how instrumental you were in helping your club win the Europa League or win the Champions League or whatever it is. It all plays a big part. And even international football comes into the picture. The Euros are coming up. That's going to play a big part for players like Lewandowski, players like Mbappe, Kante, a lot of players. So Messi's top goal scorer, right? So then why shouldn't Harry Kane be in the conversation for top 3 if he's top goal scorer in the Premier League and top 3 for assists?
Because Harry Kane wasn't in the Champions League, wasn't competing in a league and Champions League competition the whole season.
Where did Barcelona fall out of the Champions League?
Yeah, but they were still competing at the highest level. You must remember, Leo Messi has to play Champions League during the week and play La Liga. Harry Kane is playing, he was playing accountants and, I don't know, cabbage pickers during the week in Europa League. So that makes a huge difference.
I don't know.
So no, I mean, I like Luis Suarez. Do you know what it is? This is why I don't like fan votes, because that's an emotional thing. Luis Suarez was not as good as Leo Messi this season. Stop.
Yeah, no, look, this list is by no means what the actual sort of outcome is going to be. It's just a sort of a who are the favorites as voted for by most people.
James, I just realized why you love Suarez. It's a whole Liverpool thing. But okay, let's move on to the next one.
In at number 15, Harry Kane. That's
Fair
awkward
dinkum.
because
No,
we
that's
just
fair.
spoke about that.
No, that's fair. That's fair. He's about in the right place.
But Anyway, number 14, Bruno Fernandez.
Fair. Also in the right place.
13, I think this is a little bit generous. and I know your thoughts on this one. Number 13, Mason Mount.
He was maybe man of the match in the Champions League final.
Well,
So,
it was actually Kante, but sure.
yeah. Look, Mason Mount I can live with, because when you win the Champions League final and Luis Suarez had his chance to stop him. And by the way, Luis Suarez, you had your chance to stop Chelsea, right? Did he not? And he wet the bed. So sorry. So yeah, Mason Mount I can live with.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he's a little bit high, although he's above Suarez and above the rest. So I can, if Harry Kane's making 15th for playing cabbage farmers in the week and doing nothing but playing in the league and coming 8th, by the way, you must remember Mason Mount drove Chelsea to a top 4 spot. So that's a better season than Harry Kane's.
Please. Okay. In at 12, Ilkay Gundogan.
Brilliant, super player.
In at
And he should be higher. He's had an incredible season.
11th is man of the hour, man of the season, Erling Haaland.
That's harsh. Okay, but let's see. He didn't win anything, so they won the cup in Germany.
So okay. Here's your Messi argument, right? Okay. Cristiano Ronaldo is in at 10. Okay.
Yes.
Serie A top goal scorer. Okay. With 29 goals. Won both the Coppa Italia and Supercoppa Italiana with Juve.
Didn't play in the final, by the way. Was benched.
Okay. Let's move on, shall we?
So Ronaldo at?
10.
Is this an order or is it just a list?
No, this is in order for the most votes.
It's outrageous. Ronaldo at 10.
Yeah, Phil Foden's in at 9. How outrageous is that?
Okay, look, again, did people vote for this, or is this just a list being presented to people?
No, it's a goal.com list of favorites.
Okay, all right, I mean, Phil Foden above Ronaldo. Hilarious. Okay.
In at number, where are we? Number 8. Karim Benzema.
Ridiculous. He shouldn't even be in the top 20. So ridiculous. It's pathetic.
Number 7.
See, like Luis Suarez should be ahead of him. You see, that one makes no sense. They were in the same league. They both failed against Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a good measuring point. Like, oh, okay. So Suarez went and drove Atletico Madrid to the league, right?
Yeah.
Benzema, where were you? With a better team, quite frankly. So, like, Suarez should be ahead of Benzema. I mean, what are we doing?
Number 7 is Lukaku.
No.
Well, I mean, he did help Inter win the league.
Yeah, but he's not better than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Number 6 is Ruben Diaz.
Agreed. He should be there. He's been incredible. He's the best player in the best team in the hardest sports league in the world.
Number 5, Lionel Messi.
Agreed. Didn't win anything. Magnificent season.
But
again, Pichichi, and I think, where was he with the assists? Top 3 assists.
Oh my
again.
gosh. Okay. You see, that's exactly what makes no sense. Right? Ronaldo, top goal scorer, won 2 trophies. Yeah, he was benched for the final of 1. But top goal scorer in a league and helped your team win 2 trophies. You're 10th. Leo Messi's 5th.
Makes no
because
sense.
he's top goal scorer.
You know what makes no sense? That they both aren't 1 and 2. That's what makes no sense. Nobody's as good as these two still.
Absolutely.
It's pathetic. But anyway.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Number 4, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. Listen, he's been incredibly. You also have to think of last season. You know how powerful he was driving City to what he did last season and this season. So no, listen. The fact that he's in the mix, he should be in the top 5, top 6 mix. So he's a magnificent player. It's not just about this season because he's been injured quite a bit this season, but he's been magnificent for 18 months now.
Good old Kevin, huh?
He's a player.
Number 3, Robert Lewandowski. I mean, enough said.
Say no more.
Number 2, I think this is a bit generous, and this is more from a point of view of because of the name and because of the flair. Kylian Mbappe.
That is pathetic.
Yeah.
That he shouldn't be in the top 20.
Yep.
They failed to win Liga. Both him and Neymar shouldn't be in the top 20. It is embarrassing because they are playing against 10-pin bowlers and milkmen for half of the fixtures.
10-pin bowlers, huh?
No, he should not be on this list. But again, popularity thing. That's revolting.
Number 1, you want to take a guess?
Who's the most popular player on Earth right now?
Well, who's the most liked player since the
N'Golo
Champions League final? Yeah, there it is.
But that's embarrassing. Conte's been injured half the season. It's not the best player in the world. You can't reward him. Chelsea still came 4th. Like, I like Mason Mount, but I'm not putting him in the top 10 in the world. Or even top 15. I'd have him lower. Like, won the Champions League. That's nice. But it's a cup competition. I'd like more Man City players in there, please. Because the hardest thing to win in world football is the English Premier League. And you must give credit to Cancelo. Where's Cancelo on that list? Where's Edison? But they're not popular, right? No, stop. It's about winning. Ultimately, this is a team sport. I don't care how good you are, and I think you know who's finding that out. Is your old mate, your old mucker, Harry Kane. Like, no one cares how good you are. Even the fans. James, I know your stepdad is a fan. Even he's saying, "All right, Harry, cheers.
See you later."
At some stage, and this is true in life, individual awards have a shelf life. They're only so interesting. Now, can you improve the group? And sorry, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Conte, I love Conte. He's brilliant. He's not close to being the Ballon d'Or. He was injured half the season. And also, by the way, Chelsea were a catastrophe for the first half of the season. Here's the thing, and it's tough for most of us to hear this in life. If you push me in the river and then you come and rescue me, don't expect me to thank you when you pushed me in the river, right? That's basically what the Chelsea players would be saying was, "Oh, we rescued it at the end." No. You also got the club into the mire. That's on you as well. You don't get to erase that just because you won the Champions League. The Premier League was a disaster. You lost the FA Cup final. The League Cup was a disaster. So you don't get to forgive that and say we won the Champions League. That doesn't gloss over underachievement. You know what I'm saying? So you must look at the whole picture. And I love Conte. And this is the problem with making it a popularity contest, is that it's about emotions, and they call it a recency bias. All right? But look at the whole season. He hasn't been better than Fernandinho this season. No, in his dreams. He hasn't been as good as Rodri over the whole season. Don't just take the last 6 Champions League games, right? Like, that's not how it works. And that's the beauty of a league, is that it shows you actually what you are. Do you know what I mean? So I love Conte, and it's an awesome story. And I know people like humble, but stop it. He's not in the top 20 players in the world. He's not. He's just not. Get over it.
I'm sorry for triggering you.
I'm one for empirical evidence. Like, can we just get out of our fields for a second and just look at the whole picture? You're not being realistic if you think Conte had a whole better season than Riyad Mahrez. You're not being honest. You just aren't being honest. You're not telling me he had a better season than Cancelo, than Rodri, than Edison, than Diaz. He didn't. Sorry. Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan. He didn't have a whole season better than them. He just didn't.
Yeah, like I have no idea how these and even when it comes to the actual votes and stuff, I have no idea how the outcome is what it is sometimes. But hey, that was just a goal.com thing, so
all right, Jimbo, should we take some comments and wrap things up?
Let's do it. Let's jump into comments, shall we?
Get in there, Jimmy. Get in there, my son.
Henry wants to know: did you guys watch the Adam Sandler movie Uncut Gems the other day on the show?
We did not.
No.
Not yet.
No.
I tell you what, Henry, I will watch it. Not sure if I'll watch it tonight. I've got some work to do, and I've got COVID. Henry, you probably haven't heard.
Yeah, I forgot you had COVID. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, James, I don't want to make a big thing about it. Let's move on.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Rickus wants to know, do you have any symptoms? You look okay and healthy. Well, he doesn't really look okay. He just kind of looks repulsive to women.
Man. Because I do have some symptoms, but ultimately, you know what? And James, I am going to get preachy about it.
Okay, should I get comfortable? I'm going to get
I'm in a
comfortable.
bucket. If I'm whinging about my symptoms as I get to be locked up in this apartment, and not even locked up, right? There's something wrong with me. Like, then I'm failing my mother and my father and for the things they raised me to be. What kind of douchebag do I sound like if I'm going on the rant of it's so hard to be slightly inconvenienced for 10 days? So, yes, got some symptoms, but ultimately, you know, I'm incredibly happy that I live in an awesome apartment and I've got the best healthcare and I've got all the food I need. So, symptoms, yes, but ultimately, and also, listen, I know this is a fun thing to do, but ultimately, this is my job, right? Quite frankly, and I think we need to learn this as a society as we evolve. Who cares if you're sick? Get to work. Like, life's bloody hard. There's lots of single moms out there, and James doesn't care about his mom because she would have gone to work and picked him up at school sick, but James doesn't care, but I do care. There's lots of single moms who have fevers in the middle of summer, middle of winter, that get up and get to work, and it wouldn't represent where I'm from properly if I whinged about a fever. You know what I mean? Just get on with it. This is my job, and you guys, listen to people listening. Is your lives are hard as well, and I hope this is a little bit of a mental vacation for you guys. And I can't whinge about having this as a job, so we got to get on with it, man. Don't feel great, but get on with it.
Get on with it.
I got to get on with it. There's no time. There's honestly, I cannot stand people who whinge, right? And especially people who live in my economic class. Just the whinging. Ugh. Just get on. Like, literally, my old lady, James, and your mom's Afrikaans, eh, James?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure she's from the old school. My mom gave birth. The next week, she was back at work. None of this being a mom's or full-time job rubbish. You get back to it. So I just come from that family. You know, get on with it. So yeah, it's my preach.
Amen, brother.
That's good stuff.
Some people says, once again, you guys are not talking about sports. Love it. Guess this is why I keep coming back.
That's it. Whatever it takes.
Choma says, breaking news, this just in, they are snowboarding in hell. Was that an apology from Mr. COVID himself? Give that man a bells.
That's good stuff.
And then some people replied to that and said, the world is surely coming to an end.
I'm not big on sorries.
Well, look, I know. I'm very well aware.
Do you want to know why I don't like the word sorry?
Because you don't like, what's the word? Mollycoddling? Is that the word?
Okay, sure. That's one reason. It's true. But I think sorry is such an easy thing to say.
What, like an escape? I was... Okay, you just keep speaking because it was just about to go very horribly wrong.
Are you struggling there, James?
No, I was... I was going to say an escape goat, which is not a thing. It's actually scapegoat. But anyway, you were saying stuff.
Yeah, is sorry such an easy thing for douchebags to say? So I'm more about, if you're sorry, just act sorry. You know what I mean? Like that's the way to show me you're sorry.
Is it
I'm not big on saying sorry.
is it too late now to say sorry?
Is that a song?
That is a song.
Okay, I thought so.
It is.
I thought you were referring to Elton John.
No, Justin Bieber.
Oh no, I don't know the song. Shout out to Justin Bieber. Does he still have his six-pack pasta?
I didn't know he had a six-pack
Either way,
pasta.
shout out to Bieber, dude.
Good old Bieber, huh? Kutle says Inzaghi, the new Inter head coach, thought he would have wanted the AC Milan job if it became available.
Simeone Inzaghi, different Inzaghi. I think he confused Filippo and Simeone, so they're brothers.
Well, he did say sorry. He's the brother. That's what he said.
Oh, okay. Yes, Simeone Inzaghi. Filippo Inzaghi was the AC Milan guy. So yeah, Simeone done a great job at Lazio, and let's see where it goes. Football royalty, of course.
See,
The Inzaghis.
Andrew Harrison has my back. You know how you said when I said it's Liverpool's birthday, and you were like, "Oh, that means for a third of their existence, blah blah blah, they haven't won anything." So Andrew Harrison says Chelsea won their hitting you with the numbers. Chelsea won their first league for 50 years in 2005. That's around 43%. The previous one was also their first and was 50 years after formation. Another 43%. Chelsea has been winning for less than 15%.
And my God, has it been good?
Well, not as good as Liverpool then.
Well, I don't know. You've won one title in 30. In the time you've won one title, Chelsea have won 5 and 2 Champions Leagues.
Hey man, we're the most successful English team in Europe, so.
No, I can't argue that.
Nchoma says it's the 80-20 rule. People always leaving 80% fulfilling situations for 20% poor decision making.
It's true, because we make, and we all like this, no one must get sanctimonious, is we make our decisions with our feelings and not our core values. And I think Man United and Everton made those mistakes. That 80-20 rule, hugely important. Stephen Covey, if you haven't read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, do yourself a favor.
Kutle says this is interesting. So Man United should keep Ole and accept the growing pains that come with a question mark.
As I said, I just think they need to get back to their core values. Their core values are there must be stability in leadership. They've shown twice, Busby, Fergie, when you have that sort of messianic figure, you've shown that you like to be stable as a club within that sort of that realm of the institution. So what I'd say is the best way to predict the future is to look at the past, and United always flourish when they have a messiah.
Godly.
Long term.
Yeah. Kutle says football has moved past the long-term manager who was there for 5+ years. Burnley seems to be the only exception.
I think we say that now just because it's what's happening. But I think if United just stuck to their guns, and more people just stuck to their guns, I think you'd find football hasn't moved past that. But because now everyone's looking, it's almost like people saying the world's moved past marriages because 50% of divorces or 50% of marriages are ending in divorce. It's just because our references are changing. We have more information and we're struggling to deal with that and make internal decisions, right? So Man United, and Man United shouldn't view themselves as the rest of the league. They should be an anomaly, right? They should say, we're not going to behave like the rest of the league because we've been successful that way. So they shouldn't be going by what's the market doing. They should be setting the trend. And I think if more people just stuck to their convictions, if Man United just stopped trying to be Chelsea and stopped trying to be Man City, I think they'd be far more successful. I'm not sure if football has. I just think it's become the narrative. It's weird to me. It's weird to me that clubs like Everton and Man United and Southampton, even Liverpool, don't stick with managers. It's very weird to me. It's very, very weird. Because Liverpool are also on a slippery slope. It's one title in 30 years. But you must remember, it's Houllier, then it's Rafa, and then it's Brendan. And, it's also been a little jerky. But when Liverpool were successful, Shankly, Paisley, Dalglish, those are long-term. Those clubs need to know who they are. So, I'm not big on following just the trends in the market because it's a disaster. United should behave in a certain way, almost like royalty. Royalty should behave, and I'm not big on royal families. I'm just using the analogy, is that you shouldn't behave the same, quite frankly, as the common citizenry. Man United should have the chutzpah to say we're going to do it our way, but they lost that for whatever reason because they're trying to be cool or whatever. I don't know what's going on.
Always love a good chutzpah.
Unbelievable. It's because you don't live where I live. You don't know what that means.
It's because I don't have underfloor heating.
Hey, listen, that underfloor heating is on right now. It is toasty in here.
Rika says, well, United is the closest team to City who can perform consistently over the course of 38 games, and City is still miles ahead of United. I can't see any other team getting close to City.
Listen, people think these dynasties last forever. They don't. Rikus, I know, because we live in such a bombardment of information, it feels like City are going to dominate forever. But it's just not the way it goes. These things don't last forever. I think Pep will do well to get through the whole of next season. Now, he's never quit a club in the middle of the season. I think next year is Pep's last season. Even if he won the quadruple.
I agree.
He's not the type of person. And again, James, you must be very careful. Don't throw stones in a glass house. Jurgen Klopp, I think he's at the end of his tenure as well. Is that their personality types just grind people down. And winning is hard. It grates people. Egos grow. You must remember, those Man City players, De Bruyne, Suarez, they didn't arrive there as big European stars. You must remember that. They now become big stars. Sadio Mane arrived as a Southampton player. He's a big superstar now. That's another thing that grates culture, right? These things don't last forever.
I'm quite certain everyone heard your phone, and I am telling Paolo.
Yeah, it's, it happens.
Rickus City also guessed Eminem as my first CD. What gives that away? Like, do I look...
Yeah, James, you got that you got that yappy kid, like, I had to fight for my own independent identity. You know what I mean? Like we all did in the northern suburbs. Like you had to blast Eminem loud enough for your parents to hear. Do you know what I mean?
Nobody understands me.
Yeah, exactly. so you get what I'm saying.
Last one from Kutle says, CDs are going to become collectibles and worth a lot, like vinyl. See, that's also why I'm keeping all my DVDs.
Interesting.
If anyone ever really wants to break into my house, DVDs are over here. Keep them for a while and sell them.
That's interesting that Kutle thinks that. Are CDs as romantic as vinyls, though? Because they don't give you that sound. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
But Kutle may be right. Listen, I have no knowledge of that world.
There's also a whole aesthetic that comes with vinyl. It's like the whole vinyl player is an ornament in a house. You're not going to really have like your CD radio player sitting in your lounge as an ornament.
In order for things to be collectibles, maybe I'm wrong, it's got to have a bit of a douchebag element to it. Like, having a vinyl player is full-on douchebag, right? Like,
a little bit.
Like
no, not really,
car.
actually.
It's like those throwback cars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's got a little bit of a I'm better than you kind of thing. Like, you don't need a vinyl player. It's a hugely cumbersome thing to have. It's extremely inconvenient for a house.
I think I'm into the whole aesthetic and like the way they look, but I don't think I would invest my money in one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to have a bit of you're turning your nose up at the people kind of thing. I don't know if CDs have that. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Again, you're going to have your...
Maybe Gutier's right.
Who knows? We're not just a sports show. We speak about Netflix, vinyl, democratic rights, Polish people,
the Hippocratic Oath,
Hippocratic people.
You taught me about Immanuel
Kant, and I also taught you about Oedipus.
Yes.
Today,
but yeah.
not just a sports show. And with that,
Yeah.
that is my final contribution to the show, because that brings an end to Social Media with James.
It's just an honor to be around you, James. You know, you learn so much, and fortunately, I'm just a sponge.
Look,
Fortunate enough to be around sort of the ecosystem that is your greatness.
I'm just glad you're taking it in. You know,
Yeah, humbled.
I'm very, very glad.
Hashtag humbled.
Yeah, look, what can I say? It's tough being God's favorite.
No, fair enough. All right, Jumbo. It's been great. This has been the MKT show. My name is MKT. It's been an awesome afternoon. I hope you have the best day of your entire life. I hope you make the most money ever this month. I hope you can give it to your mom, to your dad, to your
sister,
whoever it might be. Take them on holiday. Take somebody you love on holiday.
Do it.
You know what? Maybe it's not about a holiday.
It's not.
Just do a great job.
Good job.
That's also a great feeling. You know?
Great feeling.
James, you wouldn't know that.
I'm just being a hype man is what I was doing.
Nah, terrible.
But I don't often do great jobs.
Yeah. So you wouldn't know the rewards, the intrinsic rewards.
Yeah.
Like your mom would know. Just every day, pitching up at work, smashing it, fetching her sons. She wasn't asking for anybody to give her a gold medal. You know, but James, you want medals and you want to be seen and you want a safe space. I mean, there's no saving people like you, James. But, you know, good to have you with me. You teach me about deontology and the Hippocratic Oath.
I do. I am very, very intelligent.
No, it's an honor. All right, Jumbo, good stuff. For today, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the MKT show. An absolute pleasure to have you with me. But for now, we are the hell out of here.